Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap, your nightly news podcast on all the news that I come across throughout the day, giving you my take as somebody who aspires to be a politician in the near future. Hopefully, all you guys are doing wonderful. Hopefully, all you guys are doing well. Today is the 1st of November. The Halloween season is over, and hopefully, all you guys had a wonderful Halloween. My Halloween was pretty fun. Had a lot of fun. I got to play some Smash Bros. Outside of that, though, had a good time. With that being said, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support is greatly appreciated as we are trying to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. We're really close. We're under like 30 away now. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support is greatly appreciated. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. That may pay for the things that I need to pay for in college, like my groceries, like clothing, like all of that. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. And with that being said, let's get into the news from today. Moving on into the Trump administration segment as we do, the first topic we have today is Trump has decided to officially strike Venezuela. The Trump administration has made the decision to strike military sites in Venezuela to combat drugs and the Maduro administration within the country. According to sources from the Miami Herald, the administration will act on this in the coming days or even hours. It could happen literally at any time, looking to strike cartels and other components as they believe 500 of tons come out of Venezuela yearly. The Venezuelan conflict will be a massive one, especially for my generation. This is me transitioning into what I said. I probably should have taken a pause, my bad. But this conflict is going to be a massive one, especially for my generation. Like I said before, I would not be shocked if this becomes my generation's Vietnam, a war for American expansionism and influence. Just like Vietnam was, Venezuela is the same exact thing. We also don't have the greatest track record in jungles, so you can put two and two together on that one. But hey, I'm going to be completely real. If we go into a conflict with Venezuela, especially under the Trump administration, I do not have faith that we win. We were a stronger military than Vietnam was, and although they had outside funding, I'm sure Venezuela will have outside funding as well. And I would not be shocked if that's a loss. In other news, a judge has demanded Trump must provide SNAP benefits. A federal judge has ordered the Department of Ag to distribute SNAP benefits for the month of November. U.S. District Judge McConnell's ruling came after a separate judge ruled that preventing the release of these benefits was illegal. McConnell said that the USDA must fund SNAP using contingency funds, and if the department finds that money insufficient, they must find other sources to pay it. McConnell said in his ruling, "There is no doubt that $6 billion in contingency funds are appropriated funds that without a doubt are necessary to carry out the program's operations. The shutdown of the government through the funding doesn't do away with SNAP, it does away with the funding of it. There could be no greater necessity than the prohibition of across the board of funds for the program's operation." This is great news. Americans need these benefits. Let's be completely real. Like, this is great news for these Americans. And I hope the Trump administration follows this ruling. Of course, Trump made a statement on Truth Social about it, and we'll talk about that next. But people need to be able to eat, especially during the holidays. And I really hope that this administration follows through with this ruling. Hopefully, Americans can get all the help and all the assistance they need during the holiday season, because it's necessary. Americans should not have to struggle. They should not have to starve. They should not, have to go through what they do, or what they're going to go through. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. In other news, Trump has asked how he can legally fund SNAP. Trump has asked the courts how he can legally fund SNAP in a post on Truth Social. In his post, he wrote, "Our government lawmakers do not think we have our government lawyers do not think that we have the legal authority to pay SNAP with certain monies we have available, and now two courts have issued conflicting opinions on what we can and cannot do. I do not want the Americans to go hungry because of the radical left Democrats' refusal to do the right thing and reopen the government. Therefore, I have instructed lawyers to ask the courts to clarify how we can legally fund SNAP as soon as possible. If it is already delayed enough due to the Democrats keeping the government closed through the month, payments monthly payment date, and even if we get immediate guidance, it will unfortunately be delayed while states get the money out. If we are given the appropriate legal direction by the court, it will be my honor to provide the funding, just like I did with the military and law enforcement pay. The Democrats should quit this charade where they hurt people for their own political reasons and immediately reopen the government. If you use SNAP benefits call the Democrats and tell them to reopen the government now. Here's crying Chuck Schumer's office number. He then listed the phone number for the office. I'm assuming this is just their way of saying no to the judges and blaming it on the Democratic Party, just as they did with the military, just as they did with law enforcement and ICE and so many other agencies. All Trump has to do is approve that funding. He says, all right, there we go. He did the same thing with all those other agencies, and he can do it with SNAP too. The funds are there, and they are set aside to be used by the Department of Agriculture if it is necessary. And right now, it is necessary to use those funds. They just have to use them. That's all they have to do. Nobody is stopping them from doing that. Not the radical left Democrats. Nobody is stopping them. Judges are ruling that they have to. Yet they're out here questioning how they do that when they very well know how they do that. So why aren't we? Because they don't give a shit about you. The Democrats are out here lobbying for healthcare. They are lobbying to get things like that that will genuinely benefit your life. And on the other hand, Republicans aren't even showing up to work. They are refusing to negotiate with Democrats. They are at home, while Democrats are in DC, trying to negotiate, trying to get a deal done. And where are the Republicans? Nowhere to be seen. You can go on social media and you can watch video proof of that. The Republicans are nowhere to be seen. They are not sticking up for you. They are actively fighting against you. In other news, Trump is being condemned for hosting a Gatsby-themed gala. Trump is being blasted for having a Great Gatsby-style Halloween party at Mar-a-Lago, hours before more than 40 million Americans will lose health benefits. Of course, those Americans have now lost benefits because the Trump administration has not approved those SNAP benefits. But Trump was pictured enjoying himself at a 20s-style event. According to AP, the official theme was Gatsby, and a little party never killed nobody. This prompted a post from Gavin Newsom on Twitter where he wrote, Donald Trump hosted a Great Gatsby party while SNAP benefits were about to disappear for 42 million Americans. He does not give a damn about you. Like Newsom said, Trump does not care about you. He does not care about you. It does not matter if you are MAGA. It does not matter if you are a Democrat. It does not matter if you are on the left. It does not matter if you are a normal conservative. Trump does not give a shit about you. He cares about his own interests. He cares about putting money in the pockets of him and his rich friends around him. That's what Trump cares about. They do not care about the American people. They care about themselves. Genuinely. Which is a massive problem, especially when the president is supposed to be the one to represent and protect the American people. Where has that been from this administration? In the time where they, are fighting against giving SNAP benefits out, they have essentially looked at bringing us into two conflicts. Those are things that we will talk about coming up. And Venezuela has something that we have already talked about already. The Trump administration would rather go to war with countries like Venezuela and Nigeria than provide money to the American people. The Trump administration would rather pay $40 million to another country, that being Argentina, than provide things to the American people. The Trump administration and previous governments before, this has been a thing forever, would rather pay money to Israel, millions and millions and millions and billions of dollars to Israel, than provide for the American people. Let us not forget, Israel has free healthcare. American tax dollars go to pay for Israel's free healthcare. The American people, we don't have free healthcare. And that is a massive problem. All it takes is to look at the government funding. Doge would be very useful if they took a look at what our government actually wastes money on. And if we took a look at what we could be spending money on to actually benefit the American people. We could have better healthcare systems. We could have free healthcare. We could have free college education. We could have better education as a whole. Yet we don't. because the Trump administration would rather put money in their own pockets, and our government would rather put more money in their own pockets than help the American people. In other news, Trump has said that Seth Meyers' show is illegal because it's too anti Trump. In a post on True Social, Trump has called Seth Meyers' show possibly illegal due to it being too anti Trump. In his post, he wrote, Seth Meyers of NBC may be the least talented person to perform live in the history of television. In fact, he may be the worst to platform live or otherwise. I watched his show the other night, and for the first time in years, he talked endlessly about the electric catapults on aircraft carriers, which I complain about as being not as good as the much less expensive steam catapults. On and on he went, a truly deranged lunatic. Why does NBC waste time and money on a guy like this? No talents, no ratings, 100% anti-Trump, which is probably illegal. Once again, Trump is claiming that things said against him are illegal. They aren't. Genuinely, they aren't. People can say and speak out against the man as much as they want to, and he can't do anything. This isn't something that should be defended either, and I know MAGA is going to, but it shouldn't be. The president should not be saying that things people say against him are illegal in any way, because they are allowed to say whatever they want about him, for one. But if people allow him to say, this is illegal, people can't say that about me and against me. It allows him to make that a fact. That's how fascism works. They speak these things into existence. And I know people don't really have the brain to realize that in MAGA, but that's a fact. You spent so many years claiming that free speech was under attack, that you needed to protect free speech. And now that free speech is actually being attacked by a leader who is actually a threat to our country and to our society, you're nowhere to be seen. Because you think that this doesn't affect you, when at the end of the day, it's going to. And in 10 years' time, you're going to have to lie about the fact that you supported this. So wake the hell up and realize that this isn't good. This is bad. It's really bad. In other news, Trump has ordered the Department of Defense to prepare for war with Nigeria. In a post on True Social, Trump has announced preparations for yet another war. In his post, he wrote, if the Nigerian government continues to allow the killing of Christians, the USA will immediately stop all aid and assistance to Nigeria. This may very well go into that now disgraced country, guns a-blazing, and to completely wipe out the Islamic terrorists who are committing these horrible atrocities. I'm hereby instructing our Department of War to prepare for possible action. If we attack, it will be fast, vicious, and sweet, just like the terroristic thugs attacking our cherished Christians. Warning, the Nigerian government better move fast. No more new wars. That's what Trump said when he was running for office. No more new wars. Here we are. A Venezuelan conflict is on the horizon. Trump is threatening to go to war with Nigeria. Make sure we add that one to the list of global conflicts started by this administration when they said, no more new wars. Is this a modern day crusade? Is that what this is? Because since when does the United States go into another country on a war based on religion? Since when is that something that we give a shit about? And, I do not care what's happening to Christians or, other religions in Nigeria. I'm going to be completely honest. We have bigger issues in the United States right now. We do. We really do. But the fact that we are willing as a country to go to war to defend a religion is insane. Whatever happened to freedom of religion? In fact, I would argue that that is against the very freedom of religion this country is supposed to stand for. We don't go to war over religion. We don't go to war over petty ideologies. And I'm not saying that religion is a petty ideology. Religion is a very important thing. But, I'm saying that this mindset of Trump that they need to go to war to defend the Christians is petty. Because it's racism against people who are supportive of Islam. It's racism against people who are Muslim, who are from the Middle East, who, support that religion. That's what it is at the end of the day. Like, that's what this is. And sure, something is probably happening in Nigeria. I do not have enough time in my day to do a full deep dive into that situation. But at the end of the day, it is not the United States' job to go and defend Christians of another country. It's not. It is really not. And the fact that we are willing to do this while millions of Americans still do not have food benefits is disgusting. Excuse me, sorry. And anyway, in other news, moving on into our ICE segment today, a former Trump employee has now been deported. A former Trump employee has been mistakenly deported by ICE and was forced to walk across the US Mexico border. Alejandro Juarez, who is 39, pleaded with officials to get an immigration hearing, but was denied and was detained at a regular ICE check in, which he was doing frequently, as most people do in this country while they are detained. Being forced to return to his home country earlier this month, Juarez, who is a father of two, worked for Trump for more than a decade at the National Golf Club in Westchester, New York. This is probably one of thousands of cases of wrongful deportations at this point. It's crazy, that they say they just want people to come here legally. They just want people to go through the process correctly. When the ones who actually do that still end up getting deported, still end up having to deal with this bullshit. What is that? Truly, genuinely, what is that? How are you going to claim that you want people to come here legally, that you want people to go through the process legally, and to the people that actually do, you still go out there and deport them? How the hell does that work? Tell me, how does that work? Because it doesn't. Justice for all of those being attacked by ICE. That agency is fucking disgusting. And the fact that this administration continues to support that, continues to fund it, and give it more funding than most militaries around the world is disgusting. Anyways, ICE agents were spotted wearing horror masks for Halloween. ICE agents have been spotted wearing horror film masks on Halloween for LA ICE raids. Two agents were seen leaving staging areas, both wearing masks, one of Chucky and the other one being of Momo. I don't know who Momo is, but I'm sure that's some horror character, I guess. NBC asked Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary of Public Affairs Tricia McLaughlin for a comment on the statement, or on the situation, sorry, and all she said was, "Happy Halloween." Keep in mind, ICE agents are doing this on a day meant for children. That's what Halloween is. At the end of the day, Halloween is an event for children to go get candy these days. It's not the old Irish tradition that used to be. It is a day for children to go get candy. I'm positive that the intention of this was to scare those children. I mean, could you imagine watching your parents get kidnapped by someone in a Chucky mask? Do you know how terrifying that would be as a young child or as a child in general? That would be horrifying. Genuinely, that would be horrifying. And if you don't see why that would be horrifying, grow some empathy. Get a shred of empathy for the people around you. Because at the end of the day, we're all human. We are all human. That is what we are. It does not matter what color is our skin. At the end of the day, we all breathe, we all shit, we all eat. So, why does it matter? Genuinely. People should be allowed to live their lives. Yet because of racism, that just isn't allowed. And it is fucking disgusting. Anyways, ICE is considering hiring private bounty hunters now. Or, this has been a plan forever, but apparently, more details have been released. ICE is considering hiring private bounty hunters across the country to locate immigrants. Under the plan, according to The Intercept, these bounty hunters would receive monetary bonuses depending on how successful they are and how many people they report. Companies hired by ICE will be given information on groups of 10,000 at a time to be located, with further assignments provided in the increments of 10,000 to a million. This is insane. This is insane, genuinely. But also, it proves that ICE is a failing agency. With all of that funding they have, they still cannot be successful as an agency to go get these people themselves. They have to hire private bounty hunters. Not only should ICE be shut down, but agents should be arrested for tormenting families, for breaking laws, for destroying and harming communities. You want to talk about terrorists in the United States? That's what ICE agents are. That's what they are. They are tormenting communities. They are harming and destroying families. They are making people scared to do things like their day-to-day lives. They are making people scared to go to work. They are making people scared to go to school. That's what terrorism is. Terrorism is inciting fear into communities. That is the basic definition of it. And that is what ICE agents are doing on a day-to-day basis. These people are absolutely disgusting. And they deserve every ounce of hate they get. But they just get to hide behind a mask and get away with it. And it's disgusting. Anyways, moving on into our other news segment for the last two topics of tonight's. The FBI has said that or FBI, I don't know why I said A. The FBI has said that they have stopped a terrorist attack in Michigan. The FBI has reportedly stopped a terrorist attack in Michigan, according to Kash Patel. Known details are very little at this point, but Patel wrote in a post. This morning, the FBI thwarted a potential terrorist attack and arrested multiple subjects in Michigan who were allegedly plotting a violent attack over the Halloween weekend. The Dearborn area was notified that there is no intentional threat or threats at this time. This is great news, of course, if it's true, and I'm glad to see that we are actively doing something to protect Americans. It would only be nice if we could, get them to actually help us and, get some SNAP benefits out here. Come on, guys. Information is still lacking at this time, of course, but they did say more will be released. So if that comes out, when that comes out, I will keep you updated on all of that. In other news, moving on into our final topic for tonight's, NASA is beefing with Kim Kardashian. Yep. NASA's and Kim Kardashian are beefing together over the moon landing and if it was real or not. NASA's acting director Sean Duffy wrote in a post, "Yes, we've been to the moon before 6 times." After comments from Kim Kardashian on The Kardashian Show, where she said that the moon landing didn't happen. Kim said that she believed the moon landing is fake and that she also centers conspiracies all the time. I did not expect to hear this one at all, but rich people are always on something. The moon landing did happen. We've been there multiple times. There is nothing anyone can say to convince me otherwise. That is like saying the earth is flat. It's just not true. It's not. I believe 100% that the moon landing happened, and I am sure we will go again one day. In all honesty, I'm surprised that this show is still going. I remember growing up watching the Kardashians, not myself watching it, of course, but it being on TV and, just watching it, and I thought it would have ended. I remember being a little kid and the Kardashians was airing, and I'm surprised that it is still going to this day. But, I'm not surprised that someone who is married to Kanye believes in conspiracies. With that being said, though, thank you everyone for watching the news today. I hope you all enjoyed. It has definitely been a very interesting past 2 days in the news world, but hopefully all you guys are doing well. If you're new here, please consider subscribing. We are trying to hit 500 subscribers on YouTube by the end of the year. We are so close. So if you're new here, please consider subscribing. All the support is greatly appreciated. And if you're on Substack, please also consider subscribing as well. All funds go to me. They help me pay for the things like groceries that I need to get, clothing that I need to get, all those kinds of things. My tuition, all this stuff. But if not, you can always subscribe for free. I truly do appreciate all forms of support on this content. And with that being said, thank you all so much for watching today's episode. And I will see you all tomorrow.